Hello, friends. I miss you all so much. I'm trying to open my starter Capri Sun. I ain't gonna hold y'all. I'm a little sleepy. She loved the Lord with all her heart, and it cast an amazing light on everything she did. Amen. I have a notebook full of stuff, y'all, from the last weeks. And I do mean a notebook full of stuff. But as y'all can see, today I want to talk about freedom, royalty, and heavenly resources. I think I was thirsty. That was crazy. Did y'all get? I can't talk. Did y'all get notifications that I went live? I told y'all YouTube be playing sometimes. Okay, yeah. This one did. Make sure y'all turn on y'all post notifications. I also got these. Okay, so the first one, this is going back to a dream, and I'm going to silence this. The message said, somebody bring some Doritos when you come. And I need a nap before we have any Super Bowl fun today. How do I focus? Okay, do not disturb. All right. I wrote these notes on February the 2nd. This is gonna be all over the place. Like I got a notebook full of stuff because I've been trying to document everything, even if I haven't been sharing it. So I wrote this down February the 2nd, but I had this dream before that. I had this dream in January. To be exact, I had this dream. I can tell y'all. You have to give me a second. I had this dream in the middle of January. So long story short, you're healed. And this is kind of separate of, it's not separate. Like, I feel like the title is all connected and goes with certain things, even down to current events. But the way everything's been playing out in the world lately, and I was telling my mom this yesterday, I'm in a place in my life and I feel like God was already letting me see things a certain way. I see how things play out on like a individual level for me. And then you have like a family like unit or system. That's what Jerry Wise always calls it. It's like your family system. So like you have stuff that you experience on an individual level. And yes, your family can affect that and everything beyond that can affect that. But then you can see stuff and it's like the family bloodline level. And then you can see stuff and it's like how your country moves. Like it's just systematic things in your country, in your nation. Below that and above family, it could be how your church organization moves, how it functions as a system. It can be how your work organization moves and functions as a system as a whole. And then above that too, so then you have how just the world or your nation functions as a system, but then you have the world above that, like just how the world itself, this earth, operates. And so I've been saying for a long time, if you can understand narcissism on any level, which most of us, we end up looking into it, we end up studying it because of what we're going through on an individual level, because of either romance or because of what your family system is like, right? But I remember when I started understanding that, like, okay, I understand narcissism. So if I can understand narcissism on a romantic level, or what happened between me and this man, or fellas for y'all, what happened between you and that woman, once you can understand that, then you can start looking at everything with a spiritual lens. And I feel like once you can do it with a spiritual lens, you can apply it to any level that we're talking about ever, right? Like ever. And so for me, like I said, how things have been going, just the state of the world lately, and I knew something was up. I feel like I always know. I feel stuff. I experience feelings. I go through myself with God. I cry a bunch, and then it'd be like, bam, the world is in shambles. Well, of course it is, right? Like that's what always happens. But I'm just able to see that so clearly. I remember making a Facebook post, and I was talking about how I had been dealing with hateful family my whole entire life. Like I have been dealing with hateful family my whole entire life. That should have been an indication of where I was going, right? I was mistreated on the workplace for certain things. I did date a lot of men who held a lot of jealousy in their hearts towards me, had a lot of family issues themselves. And because they didn't deal with it, because they didn't heal from it, then I got that. Like I got to be on the receiving end of, their issues. I went through that. I experienced a great amount of just jealousy, period, with friends, again, in the different arenas, in school, at work. I've experienced it. I've experienced that. And then you get online and you have to go through certain stuff, and it's just like this. I guess it really does all connect. I feel like I'm at a point in my life right now where, like, I would say I'm numb, and I wrote this down on this section. Okay, thank you, Holy Spirit, because I know how I was about to do this. I wrote this down on these notes right here for this day. You are healed, right? And I wrote the numbness, and it's not really so much that I'm numb. I talk like I've sadly gotten used to it, which is what God was telling me in 2019. For it to be 2026, and I'm like, this is what he meant. This is so crazy. I didn't know how that was going to grow from that one moment in line trying to get some food. My ulcers are flared up. My family is cutting up on both sides because I'm young, I'm lit, I'm living. Like I did not know how that worked across the board. Like I just did it. And so for it to be 2026, going through all this stuff, I see how it all plays out in even greater detail. It just kind of blows my mind. But like I said, I wouldn't say I'm like numb. It's just more so I've gotten used to it. And the term God was giving me a couple weeks ago, like, well, not even a couple weeks ago, because I wrote this down on the second. I started developing tough skin, y'all. And I'm gonna make videos for all this in case nobody wants to watch all the live, or they we can talk about it just more anyways. But I've started to develop tough skin. When you face so much hate, which is what the post I put on Instagram last night, like I've been dealing with hateful people my whole life. Like at some point you get used to it. And for me, I had made a video on Instagram recently in my morning vlogs, and I was talking about how like it's hard because I'm a woman in a male dominated arena. I'm not only just a woman in a male dominated arena, I am a Black woman in a it ain't a lot of Black people out there. You get what I'm saying? Like I'm Black, I'm a woman, and I'm young. And even when I said, I'm like, am I still young at 31? But like at this point, even if they don't know my age, they still think I'm brand new. And so it all ends up kind of, you can think it's playing against you, but I feel like where me and God are at, I'm like, that's really your superpower. That's really your strength. That's really how I made you, so that when you did come into these spaces, when you did enter these spaces, it would go a certain way for you. And so for me, I've never been able to be like, I'm just really grateful for who I am. I see myself how God sees me, even in the midst of all this hate, whether it was your family, because if you're talking about your family, it ain't gonna be, oh, it's because I'm black and because I'm your whole family gonna be black. That's not gonna be why they feel that way about you. That's not gonna be their reason to hate you, right? It's going to be different. It's going to be because ultimately you are different. You don't behave like them. So some people don't like you. They have hatred for you because you don't look like them, right? Some people don't like you, have hatred towards you because you don't act like them. You don't move like them. You're not called to the spaces that they're called to. You're different. You get what I'm saying? So no matter what the arena is, I feel like all week I've just been like, hate is hate. It don't matter how it's manifesting. Hate is hate. And when I wrote that Facebook post, I was talking about that. Like, I've dealt with hateful family. I've dealt with jealousy. I've dealt with racism. I told them that in the post. Racism is a form of narcissism. So if you can understand narcissism when it comes to you and a man and what happened in that one romantic relationship, that one individual level thing, you can understand what's happening when you are being systematically oppressed in a country, right? Or people are trying to do that. Because at this point, I feel like that's why I put heavenly resources in the title, because that's what my prayer was for this morning at church. But that's what the theme is for the babies, because I wanted them to understand that the same way you get to a place in your own life and it's like, it don't matter what y'all was trying to do. It don't matter what y'all was trying to stop. It don't matter what narrative you was trying to paint. Like, if your family sit there, run their mouth, lie, try to spin the story like you are this, of course, when people get scared, when they see me in a gym, like I will harm a fly, but they think all black women, loud, ghetto, irate, all these things that they try to paint the picture of on TV and different things. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's the same exact method. It's the same exact demonic strategy. It's at a different level. If my ex can get on Facebook running his mouth, popping off at the mouth, lying, not telling everybody the whole truth, the full story, you don't think they're doing that at a system level? You don't think they're doing that at a nationwide level using the news? You don't think they're doing that? You don't think they're doing that? Like, they are. You don't think that's happening on a grander scale of things? Like, if it can happen to you on an individual level in just a relationship, if it can happen to you with your family, you crazy if you don't think that that's not the same thing happening in churches, organizations, countries, and the world. The devil really don't get new tricks. It's just, he just operates differently. So even when you're talking about being black in America and how things just progress, baby, if it wasn't such a threat, you wouldn't act like this. It wouldn't be like this. It would not be like this. Just like if I could say in my own life, like, okay, I recognize anybody trying to pull me down is obviously beneath me. Because how are you trying to pull me down if you're not underneath me already? If you're not beneath me already? Anybody that's moving like that, anybody whose heart is like that when it comes to me, I must be positioned above them. This is where that royalty piece comes in. Nobody is going to put in overtime to make you feel like less than. Baby, we wasn't even considered full people. You get what I'm saying? Nobody is going to do that. If not, indeed, it's the opposite. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't want to make this political or, about race the whole lie, but you got to understand that. So if I'm not going to go argue with my family back and forth, if I'm not going to argue with no stranger on the internet, on my channel, by the way, if I'm not going to go back and forth, you think I'm going to go back and forth with a racist clown? Ain't no way you think I'm going to do that. I don't even go back and forth with my family. You think I'm going to go back and forth with somebody that got that much hate in their heart? Especially somebody who swears they love the Lord and they're followers of Christ? That's crazy. I don't know what God you serve if you hate people like that. I don't know. You get what I'm saying? Just like people in your family, and they're this and they're this and they're this, but you're horrible to people that you're actually blood related to. What are you even talking about? Like, that's not what this is. So I feel like me and God have been like, I would say calming me down, but he also been turning me up. I can't explain it. It's like, I see it for what it is. I see it for what it's always been. That's why it's like, it's still the devil. It don't matter how he trying to do it, at what level he trying to do it, it's still the devil. I see it for what it is. And now it's up to me to start. Well, I've already started doing it, but now it's up to me to live my life in a way that I can maneuver and navigate through all the tactics, no matter what level it is. We've been releasing all these words. It's so crazy, don't get distracted, because I like to think I try my best to pay attention to everything. The only thing I don't really pay attention to is the news, and that's for a lot of reasons. But I pay attention to everything. Like if I'm on social media, I pay attention to what everybody is talking about. I pay attention to what a lot of people are feeling, what they're going through. I notice patterns no matter what it is. If I'm at work and I'm like, dang, a lot of people going through this right now, or a lot of people struggling with this right now, I pay attention to all of that. I really do. But for it to be a thing where we're releasing words lately and it's like, don't get distracted. Don't let them take you off your post. Don't let them take you off your game. Stay focused. But then I'm living in a country where the whole world's distracted by what the president did or did not do in the midst of these files being released. And that's what everybody should really be worried about. These monsters doing this stuff to these kids. Now, that's the stuff I've been dreaming about for years. That's the stuff I've been dreaming about and wasn't able to talk about. Do y'all remember that? Like, it's only been a couple videos where I've been honest with you about the type of dreams I was having that was related to how they were preying upon children and that was related to politics. Because of my job, because of my position, I can't do that yet. You get what I'm saying? So to know that all this exposing is going on, and now all of a sudden you're gonna try to distract us with this. Sometimes you just gotta be smarter than that. Sometimes you gotta be more hip than that. Just like when I had that dream in 2020 and we were approaching the election and all that, but God was saying all that stuff is a distraction. It's always something very, and I don't want to say it's insignificant because it do be significant, especially when you start talking about like on a world level. Like obviously that is still pretty significant. But in comparison to any move of God, that's what makes it insignificant. Do you understand what I'm saying? Thank you, Holy Spirit, because I really don't know how he's about to do this. That's what makes it insignificant. So in your life, if people are always trying to, the enemy is always trying to send people in your life to distract you, to deter you, to delay you, what they may have did may actually feel significant. It may hurt. It may be a surprise. It may be like, I know you ain't betrayed me like that, right? Like I'm not trying to negate that the stuff ain't real and don't hurt. But in comparison to what God is trying to do through you, with you, what he is trying to develop in you, it's insignificant. And so if we focus on those things or what God is trying to show you, expose, do you get what I'm saying? Just what I'm saying, like these files are released and all these people and these things are exposed. And instead of locking in on that and people getting their consequences for that, we're gonna turn up and cause an uproar about we been knew he was like that. We been knew he was like that. Why are we acting surprised? You been knew your family member was like that. Why are you acting surprised? You been knew that man you was dealing with was like that. Why are you acting surprised? You get what I'm saying? You been knew these folks at work was like that. Why are you acting surprised? And that's what has tripped me up so much over the years. Like, you know what? Had I could have just focused and locked in, God, I think I would have been further. But I also feel like you knew I needed to learn certain levels, or certain lessons. So when I got to certain levels, it wouldn't distract me and derail me at that point, at that level. It used to be a time where nothing like this could be going on in the news because I would be sad. They'd be talking about taking days at work. It's hard being us in America, all that stuff, right? I'd be pushing through. They was making jokes last week, and I was telling my mama, I was like, and I wasn't paying attention to the news. People be telling me their opinions. You really not supposed to be talking about this and stuff at work. And I don't know if they're trying to be funny, if they're revealing their heart. I don't know what's going on because I don't pay attention to nothing, which kind of encourages me to pay attention to stuff more. But I was trying to tell my kids this today at church, and I didn't want to say this to them, but people suck, y'all. And that is where I've ultimately just gotten. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not numb in the sense of like, you know how like on Vampire Diaries, like you can like they can like flip a switch and it turns off all their feelings and all. That's not how I feel. I feel like I don't expect. I don't want to expect people to be good. I just really feel like humans suck. Like that's just how I've been feeling lately. Like I'm used to the betrayal because I've been going through it my whole life. You would think at 31, like you would get used to that, right? Like I'm used to people not being able to, do what's right, even when they know to do what's right and they still don't do what's right. I'm getting used to that instead of it making me so sad and disheartened. And it's not, I'm getting used to it and I'm just accepting it. No, that's just pushing me to be a better person. That's pushing me to ask God to help me do what's right, even when it's hard, even when I don't want to. Do you get what I'm saying? That's what we talked about in Sunday school today. It was really good. And I always know my parents are like, the lesson's really good. I hope you can come. I'm like, they trying to do that thing where like, this is what we've been trying to tell you, but it works if it's in a Sunday school. They was doing that. But the lesson really was good in that sense today. And so what I wrote on these notes was numb, tough skin, And tough skin, I used to get mad when my dad would tell me to have tough skin because it was like, sir, you're the one yelling at me. You don't get to tell me to have tough skin. But what it actually means, it means you're emotionally resilient. It means that you can endure criticism, whether it's like constructive or not, right? Like you can push through anybody's remarks, opinions, and stuff because you know what they got to say is not above God. It means not being easily offended, which I remember reading a devotional about that in 2020. It means not being easily upset. It means not being easily affected by negativity. So I feel like that's like where I'm getting. Like it's like people gonna do that. That's what people suck. Like they just do, y'all. Human nature. That's what me and the kids talk about. Like it's just it is what it is. Like we're horrible. We really are worthless. Like my daddy is saying that all the time. We're filthy rags. What makes us cool, what makes us special, what makes us worthy is Jesus, right? Like, and that's it. And so that numbness, I feel like that's what I'm developing. Something my dad always teaches us, and he was talking about last night, so I knew he was low key in a flow, even if he didn't know he was in a flow. Something he taught me recently, like within the last year or two, was like when the devil rebelled and he left heaven, he took 1/3 of the angels with him. So when stuff started turning up with my family, and again it was both sides, and my parents know me, like it's like nah, like I'm not dealing with y'all no more. I'm done. Like I promise you, I'm done. And my dad was just like, and I've shared this with y'all multiple times. He be right a lot of the times. He's not right all the time. If he was right all the time, I wouldn't need to, learn how to seek after God and stuff. But he was right when he told me this. He's like, Megan, it's always going to be a third of folks, at least a third of folks who don't know how to act, who following the devil, who just go against the program, who just rebel, who treat people crazy, who wicked, who evil. He was like, it's always going to be a third. You're going to see that in the family, at church, at your office, in the world. It don't matter. And so last night he was saying that again. And so I feel like it's just been more of a like acceptance. That's why I'm kind of numb, because it's like, it hasn't changed, y'all. I'm 31 and it's been like this whole time. It's not going to change. People are going to continue to be people, fickle people. The devil is going to continue to hop in the wounds of people. You get what I'm saying? So it's just kind of like, I really had to accept that, because not being able to accept that is going to hold you up in your life. Okay. So numb, tough skin, and then I had put sadly I've gotten used to it. And what I put specifically was betrayal, and we talked about that, especially last year, coming in from narcissistic abuse. Or maybe it's not that, because we haven't been able to talk a lot lately. Maybe it's just emotional negligence. Something I feel like at the beginning of the year they were encouraging me to have a conversation with somebody, my parents, and I was like, I can't. I understand now that they can't even comprehend what I'm saying. They don't have the comprehension skills to even understand what I'm saying. Like, and that's a waste of my time, their time, and definitely my energy. Like, I'm not having a conversation with somebody and I know they don't even understand what's coming out of my mouth. Some people are too full of hate, too hurt, too not there in the mind to be able to understand what you're saying. So that kind of helped me too. And it's really crazy because at the beginning of last year, I had made a video and I was like, at this point of my life, I know that if you bother me, you not right in the head and you not right with God, and or you're not right with God. I made that video. I never posted it. I said it in my kitchen at the beginning of last year. It took me a year to get to that point. That's what it is. No real child of God is going to be bothering his other children. They're not going to be going out their way to bother them, harass them, stalk them, treat them any kind of way. They're not doing that. When you really walk with God, you're not bothering God's children, because God is your father and his children are your siblings. You're not doing that. But also realizing a lot of people really ain't right in the head. And so then you start praying differently. You start seeing stuff differently. Like they really don't know better, because either they're wicked and they're a child of Satan, or they don't know better because they literally cannot comprehend what is going on. They don't have the knowledge and the wisdom that you have. They don't have the maturity and the understanding that you have. And so just really sitting with that stuff the last year is really kind of helped me a lot, actually. Nobody that's really walking with God, that really knows God, thinks it's okay to hate God's children that don't look like them, to hate people of color. you're not walking with my God. I don't know who you're walking with, but it's not mine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not how life works. So I got used to all the betrayal at any level, and nothing, sadly. I feel like last year it was like, don't nothing really even surprise me no more. Like, I had been waiting for crazy stuff to happen. I had told y'all that, but I also remember telling y'all about that video I saw that trending TikTok, and the girl was like, "Did you just stab me?" And she pulled the knife out of her back like it wasn't nothing. I've gotten to that level of resilience. I sadly, like my skin is so tough. I'm so numb now. Like, you can stab me and I'm gonna be aware that you stabbed me, but it's gonna be like, did you just stab me? And I can keep going and keep moving. That's where I've gotten in life. I didn't know how that would feel once I got there, but that's where I am. Like, it's some conversations with people like I genuinely don't want to have. Even if you're like, I didn't know better. I know you didn't know better, because if you knew better, you wouldn't have done that. Or either you did know better and you're just wicked. And in that instance, I'm definitely not having a conversation with you. You get what I'm saying? So it's just like, let's all save our breath and our energy and our time. Like, they did just stab you in the back. You know they just stabbed you in the back. If somebody stabbed you in the back, you're going to stand up there and try to have a conversation with them. Why did you do that? I'm not having that conversation with you. You obviously wanted to do it, right? Or you didn't know better. So I feel like I've gotten there. But I did put on here, no more excuses not to fight. Right. Because like I said, that was distracting me. So it's not a numbness and like a, I don't care about anything anymore. No, it's a, hey, I gotta lock in. It's real stuff going on out here. Like, for real. I'm gonna try not to cry, but it's kids that really need me. And I gotta be able to live above my feelings. It's kids in my family who really need me, who really need to see me around, who really need to see the example that I set. God has children on the internet who really need to see me, who need to see me around, who need to hear the revelation he's telling me, who needs to see the example that I set. It's children over the world. You get what I'm saying? Like, I have to fight. It's people that look like me that need to know you can go to schools like this, you can get these degrees, you can work in these workplaces, and you can still be successful. You can have leadership roles, you can make a difference. It's people who need to see me. And as long as I'm sitting up here distracted by the fact of, all these people hate me, I'm never going to show up and be on the scene the way that I need to be on the scene, the way that God has called me to be on the scene. And I feel like he has, thank you, Holy Spirit, he's told me this before. And that's what be blowing my mind when it's like, I said something like that 3 years ago. That's crazy, because why didn't it stick? Which goes back to a New Year's word that I had told y'all before, like, because the ground wasn't good. It couldn't stick. And I made a post last night, like, my life been lit. I just need to heal more to enjoy it. That's just from the simple fact of enjoying it. But also, God been talking to me. God been giving me real good words. But I needed to heal more so that they could really produce in my life, so that it could really change how I moved, change how I saw things, change how I felt, changed how I thought. You know what I'm saying? Like, it had to be that. And so I thank God for that, because it's like, I didn't know what it would take to get the healing that I needed. I was praying for the healing that I needed. And I was praying that I would be healed. And I was praying that I'd be okay from so many different things. But I didn't know how to, like, how though? Like, I'm trying, God. Like, and when I talk about certain things, I still cry. I still hurt when I have certain dreams. And I want to say that this last week, I've been having the type of dreams, like in the previous season, I would wake up and be mad. That hasn't been happening. I text my sister the other morning, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was working. He was trying to trigger me, and it worked. I would have a dream, and I would be upset, and then I'd be thinking about all the stuff I went, and I'm like, but that don't even work no more, because I've healed, like, enough. So, which takes me back up to the top. I really didn't know how we was going to do this. And even just right now, what's going on in the world, like I said, it used to be stuff like this happen, and I would just be mad. Like, I go to work, I don't even want you to look at me like look at me like you racist. I wish you would. You know what I'm saying? Like, that used to happen. It would trigger me when I was younger, because my grandma said I'm just like my daddy. When he was younger, he couldn't watch certain things on TV because he'd go to school wanting to fight. Like, because that's tough. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so when I was younger, my mom didn't let me watch certain things, because they was like, this is gonna upset her. And it's because it's triggering you. That's what they're trying to do. Like, even when I think back to being in school, that's what I'm telling y'all. Like, it's systematic. They know exactly what they're doing. You can spin it like we're supposed to be celebrating us and all of our accomplishments. And y'all know I had a very racist teacher in high school. And that Black History Month, I'm like, oh, you can get it, sir. I promise you can get it. But I would hate how it was supposed to be Black History Month, and at church we would talk about, all this great stuff that they did, just kind of like today. We talk about all their accomplishments, their resilience, how God carried them through. But then I'm in school in 10th grade, and you showing me how we was on these ships, and I'm the only one in class that even got black skin, and you showing me trigger. I don't want to learn about this. I don't care to learn about this, not in this setting with you. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy when you think about it. And so then even when you do learn about Black history in school, it's like, and this is how bad we treated y'all. And this is how bad y'all let us treat you. And like, that's what it felt like to me my whole life. I don't know if that's everybody or just a Megan thing, but that's what it felt like to me my whole life. That's triggering. So even when you do know people and you see people and they living different, but it's like, I literally just had a month worth of lessons where y'all was treating us like we was less than a human. When we was dying coming over here, when you was selling us, when you was separating us from our families, when you were doing all these things, because why was us being together so threatening? You get what I'm saying? Like, we could take it there. I'm not going to today, but we could. So that's a tactic. Why are y'all doing this? And it's Black History Month. Why is this happening? Why is this mistake happening? Why is everybody being so careless and reckless? Oh, again, I'm trying to take it there. And it's Black History Month. Oh, you trying to be funny? Like, just like with your family. And this is exactly the example he gave me. And this is when you guys start talking about freedom. Because when you get free, or when people know you're trying to get free, or you're in the process of being free, they're gonna trigger you. They want you to be triggered so you can come back. They want you to be triggered so you can't go on to that freedom. They want you to be triggered so you just always remember what the past was. When I started healing and I got over my one ex that I used to be down and out about all the time, I used to cry about all this stuff. My hating cousin was like, do you remember when we used to cry over him? And that always threw me for a loop. I'm like, this is the first time in a long time I've been happy. It's been a smile on my face. Ain't nobody worried about that man. Ain't nobody thinking about that man. But because you see me free from that hurt and that pain, you want to remind me of when I was crying about him. I'm trying to forget the days when I was crying about him, right? Why would you do that? That's how it always felt to me on different levels. On a systematic level. It don't matter that we have a Black president now. It don't matter that we have a Black woman running for president. It don't matter how successful we are. Some people have gone to be, but do y'all remember when we used to treat you like slaves and treat you like you was less than a person? That's how it always felt to me. Even as a child, I never liked it. And now that I'm older, I'm like, that's why I never liked it. You was always trying to remind us of that. You trying to keep us triggered. So now what happens when you're triggered? You might be doing good. You might be starting to feel like, okay, yeah, God has more for me. God has more for my family. And then say you get pulled over in a routine traffic stop like they always do, and then they treat you like something you aren't no more. They treat you like something y'all's people are in a position your people not even supposed to be in anymore. Something that's supposed to be done with. It's 2026 and folks still out here racist. That blows my mind. But it's also 2026 and it's people on here who got all this stuff to say about Glorilla and her sister, but you treat your own blood family who haven't done nothing to you like trash. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. You get what I'm saying? So they do that. It don't matter even if you are a well-dressed, successful Black man, all that. Some people, it's not all people. Racist people will try to remind you like where you come from, boy. Like that. Just like I can get on this live and they calling me they was calling me like a couple months ago. It's 2026. I try to uplift women. I try to make sure women don't find themselves in the same positions that I was in. No matter what that woman looks like, no matter what her skin color is. But it's people hopping on my live calling me the N-word. It's 2026. Who does that? That's what they're trying to do. That's why I was so proud of myself for how I handled that and how I kept showing up. Because it was like, no, we're not doing that. It's 2026. Kamala Harris just ran for president. You're not going to come over here and treat me like that's what it is. That's not what it is at all. Even what I was going through at work, which made me leave that job. Like, I was telling y'all, I didn't know how I was going to heal. I didn't realize he was going to let me keep getting triggered. That's how I healed. And he let me keep getting triggered while he was working on my heart. So now when that trigger is happening, this is what you're feeling. This is what you're thinking. This is what you know to be true. He was working on my mind. This is how you see this now. This is my perspective on this. This is what I say. This is my thoughts. So now that triggering don't have that power, no matter what that is. If it's your hating cousin who's so upset that you're not crying over a man no more, that she trying to pull you back to that, you can quickly, in your head be like, that was my past. She's threatened by me not being in my past. Maybe she even enjoyed me being hurt, but I'm not there anymore. And her words are not going to bring me back there anymore. That's just an example. It could be anything. I used to get bullied when I was a little girl. And so until I really started dealing with that, anybody that tried to bully me, anybody that tried to mistreat me, I'm going right back to the little girl until I keep getting triggered and God keeps working on me. And now I know anybody that's trying to intimidate me is threatened by me. Like, I really know this. I already have rules about it. They're threatened by me. They wouldn't be trying to pull me down if they weren't already beneath me. I'm royalty. They're the peasant. They're broke financially, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. That's not me, because Megan doesn't walk around trying to tear people down. That's not me. So now I know that. I wish little Megan would have knew that. They were picking at you for all these things. All these things are what I made you to be. What was going to help you do what I called you to do. What made you special. Good segue. I was texting my mom and I was like, do you remember that book you and dad used to read me? Shout out to my parents. It was a little black girl. And it's so crazy because it's like, imagine what they thought in their generation and how I want my kids to live, because me and what God was showing me this morning, when you see, so tired of crying. When you see like what previous generations went through, I can only imagine what my big mom's dreams were, Daisy, for her offspring. I can only imagine what they were, how they grew up, how they lived. But even in how they grew up and how they lived, that's why I want to talk about heavenly resources. You can still want more for the next generation. Even the stuff my grandma and them went through, either side. They weren't slaves, but just the different opportunities and stuff they had. Even my dad, and I remember him telling me that, like, I wish I could have went to Auburn. He was smart enough to go. His mama wasn't positioned enough for him to go. Do you get what I'm saying? So what did he do? He made sure he was positioned enough so that his kid could go. Now my kid, I don't know. It's whatever they want to do. They can go to PWI. They can go to HBCU. It's whatever they want to do. But just seeing how that goes throughout the generations. I'm sure my big mama, she wasn't alive to see a black man be the president. She didn't get to see that. She didn't get to see that. But did she maybe hope that her kids, her grandkids, her great-grandkids would be able to see that? Probably. And so for me, it's different because I know how my daddy lived his life so that we can have a certain life, and it's going to be the same for my children. And what I prayed today was for us to understand who we are. It's hard to feel like you are a king or queen in America when all they showing you is how they bringing you over here on slave ships and beating you and treating the black men like they ain't nothing. These your brothers, your dads, your cousins, your uncles, your granddaddies. It don't matter if in lifetime I'm seeing these amazing black men, but then y'all always trying to trigger us back to when it was something different. Like, what? I hated Black History Month when I was in school. Hated it. Well, it's educational and they need to learn. Nah, teach us the real stuff. Teach us how you over here acting like you found stuff, you created stuff, and you didn't. You a liar. You a narcissist. In positions of power to hurt people, to disrupt, to destroy, to break up. Like, no. So, with the heavenly resources, y'all, I was binging Marvel. We know this. Y'all know I love all the Marvel characters. Black, white, not even a human. Like, I love Marvel. My heart's not set up like that. And first, it was all the Captain Americas. Y'all know I love Captain America. I low-key feel like Captain America today. But that's not who I was. I was Wilma Rudolph, and I remember learning about her when I was a little girl. My mom was always big on making sure we knew, because she was a teacher, so she made sure we knew the good, cool stuff about the good stuff that Black people did, not just how horrible and horrific we were treated. And so I started off watching him because I had binged Tony Stark enough this year, and so I was watching the normal, regular, not really normal, but the original Captain America. But then y'all know it transitioned into he gave the shield to Sam because Sam had the heart to be the next Captain America, the leader, and Sam is a black man. And even in Brave New World, even in the show, in between the movies, you're going through what it's like for him to be what he thought was the first black Captain America. Lo and behold, he wasn't the first black Captain America, but they worked so hard to erase our history. The only history they want to tell us is where we treated you like crap. That's all we want you to remember. Not really, it was one of y'all who invented this. It was one of y'all who came up with this. That we're gonna erase that. We're gonna change everything. Like we can really take it there. That's what I don't take it there because of what I do. But we can really take it there. Nobody want to talk about that, just like in your family. Y'all gonna not talk about this. Y'all gonna hide all this, but we gonna talk about this. Let's not do that. Or y'all drive somebody so crazy because it worked, but it's not gonna work when you know what your heavenly resources are. But this is really happening to people. You drive them insane. You convince the whole world they're crazy. They're the problem the whole time. You evil. You wicked. You wouldn't know which way was up without me being over here. Same thing. We invented all that. We built this. And you want to give me scraps of what I built, of what you wouldn't have if it wasn't for you discovering it? Like, you get what I'm saying? Don't play with me. I was telling my brother and sister about that dream I had where my cousin stole from us. We had rightfully won it, and they stole it. They cheated. They took it, and then they was trying to give scraps of what they it wasn't even yours. How you gonna give me scraps of something that belonged to me? How are you gonna do that? So I was challenging my brother and sister, like, think about how that plays out with us being black in America. Think about how that plays out. It's not just on a family level. Somebody will take your whole idea, try to run with it, and then try to give you scraps. Nah, no. And so what God is doing all this exposing, doing all this revealing, all these people, they may have had money, they may have had power, the enemy may have gave them kingdoms of the world, right? No. You wouldn't know which way was up without the very people you treating like trash. That happened in my family. You think it's not happening at a higher level? It is. So I was watching all of the movies. It was hard seeing all that stuff with Sam and Isaiah and what it's like to really feel like you worthy of being a leader, being respected in this world where the narrative's always been one thing. You telling me I'm not going through that with my family right now? I'd rather just not deal with y'all entirely. Because I ain't never been in a dynamic and I was respected for who I was. Right? That's just me though, because I'm still healing. But seeing how all that played out in the movie, I was like, yeah, that's crazy. How they tried to erase Isaiah. How he saved people. How he had morals. He had character. But not only are we going to try to erase you and the contributions you made, we're going to hold you captive and try to study you so we can recreate you and the person we want to recreate you as. Hold on. I'm sorry. What? Tell me that don't sound like Cinderella. We're going to hide her. We're going to make sure y'all never know she exists. But let me see if I can get my ugly tail daughters to be out here and then people think that they got the gift and the light that Cinderella naturally possessed. We're going to make sure you don't have a good quality of life. We're going to make sure that your experience down here is horrible, which me and God was talking about that too. How dare you try to ruin the quality of our experience on earth? Is it perhaps because you know that we are destined to experience eternity in heaven with him? Is that perhaps what it is? So they did all that to Isaiah. I was taking that tough. I was like, everything is making me sensitive. I didn't know what this week was going to be like. I didn't know that. I was just, I'm just binging doing what I do. So then, even in the new movie, and the next one is The new Falcon is Joaquin. So now you're going into a whole nother demographic, and we see what they're going through in real time, in real life. I don't like when you mistreat anybody. The same way I sit up here and cry over how black people be treated is the same way I cry over anybody being mistreated. That's the difference between me and other people. World History 2, Auburn campus, Holocaust, hysterical. French Revolution in Haiti, hysterical. Cuban Revolution, hysterical. I don't like the mistreatment of nobody. But you believe in God and black people can be mistreated all the time? You believe in God and your cousin that don't bother nobody can be mistreated all the time? Get out of my face. We're not doing that. It's 2026. So it's not a thing to be upset and be angry, but you got to recognize what's going on. And sadly, y'all know I told you I hated when my mentors would tell me you got to learn how to play the game because I don't play games. Moving wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. I know that's how y'all get down. I know that's how y'all think. I know that's how y'all operate. And because I know that, and because God shows me that, I'm going to move different. I'm going to do different, right? So let me go back. I feel like I'm kind of jumping all over the place real quick. Before I go into how I ended up watching the Black Panther movies and I could not stop crying, I was like, something is wrong with me. Like, this is beyond horrible. Something is wrong with me, God. Bucky. Hysterical. You are healed. And I still didn't even tell y'all what the dream was that I had. Bucky is a prime example of triggering and how people will trigger you to be something that you are not. That what they tried to program you to be, what they tried to teach you to be, what your family wanted you to be all these years. When we make fun of you, when we say this, when we act like this, when we call you this, we already know it's going to turn you into this. It don't necessarily mean you're going to turn into a killer, but it can turn you into who you're not. And we know all we got to do is say this to Megan or insinuate this to Megan, and this is how she is going to respond, how she is going to react. People are counting on being able to trigger you. So like I said, I didn't know how I was going to heal, but I found out it was because God was going to keep letting me be triggered until something changed. They used a series of trigger words and or people can use a series of events, which I think is what the warfare happens in my life. It's always the same thing. So if I fall for one thing, once I fell into that, now he's going to start beating up on me with other triggers and I'm down and I don't even know what's going on. That's what happened in 2024. I was triggered the whole year, stressed out the whole year, right? But you're free now. And so for some of y'all, you may be in the same spot I'm in. I can't believe I used to fall for this. And I can't believe this ever had power over me. The behavior of other people, the words of other people, the actions of other people, the wicked desires of other people. I cannot believe I ever let that dictate what was going on over here. I didn't went off. He's showing me all the different places I didn't went off. This is how my brain works. I can't believe I ever fell for that. So Bucky gets free and he crying and where do they send him to get that healing he needed? Wakanda. They had to fix his mind. Wakanda is very symbolic. Okay, that's why I was crying like that when I was watching Black Panther. Very symbolic. He needed time away, isolation, solitude. And do you know how they test to see if he's healed? That same series of trigger words. So we don't understand that's what God is doing to us. What he's allowing to happen. I'm going to let them say them same words. I'm going to let them say them same events. Or do them same events going to occur, and I'm going to see how you're going to react and respond to that. That's how Bucky knew he was healed. That's how everybody else knew he was healed. She said the words, and it didn't trigger him. But when the words were being said, he was crying. And when I tell y'all I was boo-hooing in my room, you would have thought Bucky was my brother, okay? Boo-hoo, crying, and all it's doing is flashing him back to the different things that happened when he was that other version of Bucky, when they were able to get that other version of Bucky. But it didn't have power over him anymore. I'm not saying you're not going to be triggered and you might not still think back to certain things. I'm not saying you ain't going to be triggered and you might not have those type of flashbacks, but it's not going to have power over you. It's not going to turn you into something and somebody that you are not. That's a different type of healing. That's a different type of freedom. So for me being in 10th grade and seeing how they did us, now that was triggering. And now I'm struggling to show up and feel like I'm good enough, like I'm worthy of being here. But now This stuff this week, nah, because it's real. Like, because if we wasn't who we thought we was, why would you be doing all this? You not gonna have me feeling like I'm less than. I'm not coming in the office with my head down because this man who does things to kids, a man who heart full of hatred. You get what I'm saying? That's a reflection of him. That's a reflection of the people who support him. That's a reflection of the people that's riding behind him. That's not a reflection of me, my family, what God has for us, where He's called us to. That ain't a reflection of that. That ain't a reflection of my people. It's a reflection of Him. All bullies, all situations. When you got a particular family member, then they come from a particular family, that's evident of what y'all got going on over there. I don't want to say breeding, but that's a reflection of how y'all household get down, how y'all operate. That don't dictate how we are, how we move. That's what you had going on, and that's what your house produced. Do you get what I'm saying? I can't believe that stuff ever had power over me. I can't believe I ever gave stuff power over me like that. I really cannot. You're free. And it takes time to understand that, because even in that moment in Wakanda and Bucky is crying, he knows he's free. She's telling him, like, you free. He still had to go to therapy. You know, he still had to really accept, like, dang, I really am free. I can live a whole life. That's how I feel. I feel like I just started living my life. And I feel like I just started living my life because this is the most free I've ever been. Like, oh, I get to live. For now, I was already living. It was already lit. That's what the Facebook post said, right? It was already lit. But I had to heal so that I can enjoy it. Because in the process of God giving me so many blessings, giving me so many great things, somebody say the right words, do the right thing. Now I'm triggered and I'm going backwards and forgetting that He didn't already deliver me from that, set me free from that years ago. I've been living different. Same with Black people in America. You give it power and it's triggering you, you forget we've been in a different spot. It's been proven that we not like that. We could have been did X, Y, and Z. We ain't do that. I spared my cousins. You don't think we not out here sparing people? I could have turned up. I didn't. I could have told everything I knew publicly on the internet. I didn't. I could have, though. I ain't built like that. That's a reflection of you. Royalty don't have to move like that. When I was at church today, I got overwhelmed because everything going on. We were still in there able to sing praises, lift His name. Everybody was happy. I remember what song Miss Charlene sung first, but I was feeling it. You wouldn't even know all that other stuff was going on in the world. Exactly. God is bigger than that. He gonna always be bigger than all of it, no matter what level it is. He's bigger than that stuff I was going through on my job. He bigger. He bigger than what's going on in America, in the world. He bigger. Love is bigger than hate. It's greater than hate, which is a whole nother world. I didn't realize He was really preparing me. It felt like He was preparing me for this last week, and I did not realize it. So you're free now. And the dream I had, which I feel like can be simple now, I kept telling my parents, like, I can't be around so and so. I don't want to be around so and so. I'm healing. And I'm not gonna hold y'all. I knew that was making them, like, leave me alone whenever I would be like, but I'm trying to heal. If I would just say heal, they would leave me alone. And so this one particular time a few weeks ago, I was telling them, like, you can't make me. Like, I'm trying to heal. Okay, well, God had other plans. I went to sleep that night and I dreamt I had a bandage over a wound on my back, right? And a dream, I was getting Morgan to, like, take the bandage off. And me and her was like, dang, where'd it go? It was no wound there. No wound. I still had the band-aid on though. But one at the under there. I was fine underneath there. So when I woke up, me and Morgan in a dream at the time when I was waking up was like, you're healed. Like, there's nothing there. Like, and so when I woke up, I knew God was telling me, like, hey, you got to stop doing that. That's why I said, I ain't got no excuse not to be fighting. I'm healed. That stuff ain't take me out. Just like when I wrote that post on Facebook. I need to go find that. That didn't take me out. How my family tried to treat me, that didn't take me out. Y'all remember I got on here crying? Everybody don't survive bullying. Everybody don't survive narcissistic abuse. I got people I love dearly who didn't survive it, who unalived themselves because they couldn't handle it. I'm still here. I can't take myself out the fight. I ain't got no excuse. I'm healed. I had access to different things. The heavenly resources is really hitting. I'm like, this is crazy. So take it back to Wakanda. I had told my mama, I was like, well, I guess if I tell y'all I need to heal again, just tell me to shut up because God said ain't nothing wrong with me. Perfect. Whole. No wounds. Even after he told certain family members to bless him and they didn't. And they didn't. They didn't have to for me to heal. All I needed was God and my resources from heaven to heal. Nobody ever had to say sorry to me for me to heal. Nobody ever had to change and tell me they didn't mean to for me to heal. It wasn't dependent on man. It was God. So I told mama, next time I try to tell y'all I'm not doing it because I'm trying to heal, just don't even take me serious. I'm not doing it because I don't want to do it. That's the end. And I'm not going to give y'all no more excuses that I don't need. So that's that use of that betrayal too. My skin's so tough. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, none of that took me out. How they did me at work, didn't stop nothing. Not a thing. How that man tried to do me, humiliate me, treat me like I was worthless, like I wasn't deserving of love, guess who's still getting it? Me. Guess who don't believe she's worthless? I don't. Guess who still was able to receive love? Me. Whether it was from abuse or neglect that felt like abuse, intentional wickedness, I'm straight. And it's because of God. So Bucky has to go to Wakanda. And while I'm thinking of this, because I'm having a vision, I don't know if y'all have ever seen the Hunger Games, and I haven't watched it in a long time, but when she gets wounded, they send her like this special ointment and it heals you like, hey, that was not supposed to heal like that. What's in that ointment? Like I remember the first time I watched that movie, I was like, no, for real, what's in that ointment? That's what God gave me. It's like a special ointment, a special balm that he administers. That might even be a scripture that he administers to your wounds. Whether it's your heart, whether it's your mind, whether it's affecting how you walk, how you move, because you got to be intentional. You got to know that's a wound. You can't neglect it. In the movies, they keep pushing, they keep fighting, and then they look and it's like, oh God, like, yeah, your leg's gonna fall off. You probably should have attended to that before this scene. You know what I'm saying? That's what he did for me. So Wakanda to me was symbolic of like heaven, like just this great place, like the origin where they have all this stuff, right? Bucky could go heal there. They could get the stuff out of his mind. And God been highlighting that to me lately. I've never thought about those things, but I do believe people really do pray to inflict your mind. So you have to pray over your mind. You have to cover your mind, right? But Bucky had to go there so that they could get all that, trauma, triggering. I think God does that partially when we're asleep. I've been said when I start walking in my calling, I feel like I'll be in heaven at night. I can't explain that. Especially sometimes, and I can't remember, but I'll wake up and I'll just be so happy. I'll feel so light. What was I doing in my sleep? Like, what was happening? You will wake up and feel different. You will wake up and think different. And you can do it like this. I don't cry because I be hurt. I cry because I really feel what I be saying. I really feel the people connected to me that are hurt, whether they didn't hurt me or not. I really feel the state of the world, the state of the nation. I really feel that. That's why I cry when he presses up on my heart. But you just wake up different. That's what's been happening to me. Like, I just wake up, I'm like, I am not the same Megan. This is crazy. He'll change it like that for you. And then he'll let you get triggered to see how you react, how you respond. Is this going to upset her? Is this going to make her quit? Is this going to make her think less of herself? Is this going to make her doubt what I've told her to do? Is this going to make her doubt what I've told her to say? Is this going to make her doubt how I've asked her to show up? Is this going to make her doubt what I have told her I have for her? Is this going to make her feel like she's not indeed who she is? So if you're getting triggered, and I remember when he was like, let it trigger you to the other side. Exactly. Like, I'm like, oh, I didn't know you were literally saying to use the triggers to get to the other side, guy. I didn't know that's what you was saying. Oh, okay. That hit a little different. My bad. You'll wake up and you'll just be totally different. So Bucky had to go to Wakanda to do that. Okay, that's where he had to go. I think that's the big reason why when they was fighting Thanos, they had to take that to Wakanda. Like, yeah, I don't think you're gonna be able to just beat him in New York. You need to go somewhere else. So what do those resources look like? We know in the the Dream, Bucky. Okay. That was February the 2nd. What do these resources look like? Which is what I prayed today. And before I do that, let me say this real quick because I don't want to forget, because that's the other thing he's highlighting to me. I was saying shout out to my parents for reading to me when I was little. They used to read me this book, and me and my mom was trying to find it. And that's how I got off on that tangent. Because I'm like, yeah, I don't think my grandma was reading to my daddy before he went to sleep. I don't even think my mama's parents is doing that. But they read to us before we went to bed. You think I'm reading to my babies before we go to bed? Might even take it up another notch to do some other stuff with them. They read to us. They wanted us to believe in ourselves. They wanted us to believe we could be anything that we wanted to be. They did. And I thank God for that. They used to read me this book. I don't remember her name. It was a little black girl. She had little black girl hair. And I remember this one page. She was doing cartwheels in the yard. And I want to say it was leaves out there. I want to say they had a dog. It was another page of her grandma. I don't know if her grandma was visiting or lived with them. And I think grandma, could have been granddad, but I think it's her grandma taught her how to play the piano. Y'all know how to play the piano? I don't know if I ever told y'all that. I know how to play the piano. My dad wanted us to be the next Alicia Keys. Anyways, I remember that. She could play the piano. And she talked about whoever was teaching her how to play the piano, how long their fingers were, but so it could reach the keys. Like they were so much, their hands was bigger than hers, so she was a little girl. Every page of the book. That's why I don't know why I struggled so bad to love myself or believe that I was worthy of love. My parents really did do a lot to make sure that I knew that. And they weren't perfect. I can see why I haven't been wanting to make videos. So y'all see how much I'm crying? I think I be knowing like I don't want to be on the internet right now. I was watching Ironheart, and it was saying, they were saying in there, sometimes when we try to forget the memories we don't want to remember, like we try to forget the bad, we forget the good. And I feel like I had been living in such a triggered fight or flight survival mode place that I couldn't just sit and reflect on the good and just be grateful. I couldn't consistently do it because as soon as I would get triggered, it would knock me out of that place. And y'all, that have been working for so long, like so long. Anyways, I think this is a core memory for me. Every page, she'd be like, my name is whatever her name was. It's Nina something Marie. I don't know. But she would say what her name was, and I love me. Every page. My name is Nina, and I love me. That was the end of every page. Every single page. And while I'm saying that, it's making me think of Say Your Name, babe. And I've been telling y'all that. Like, I really feel like God did me like that. Like, look in the mirror. This is who you are. This is how I made you. Say your name. Like, that's how he did me. We can understand that with relationships and stuff, but it was like, no, God was trying to do that. Like, what's your name? Who are you? I am Megan, the Megan, Mishael Haywood. And ain't nobody taking that away from me. And I love me. And before everything, it was like, no, God, I love me. I love the skin I'm in. I love the hair you gave me, especially when it's healthy. I love everything about me. I love that I'm Black. I don't want to be nothing else. And no matter who you are, or what you are, I pray you feel the same way about yourself. That you love the skin you're in. that you love what God gave you, that you love how he placed you, how he created you, your nationality. What, you know what I'm saying? Like, I pray that for you, because it's been a long time coming for me to get there for me. And just because I love me does not mean I don't love you. You get what I'm saying? And I really love them for that, because at some point that was going to have to kind of resurface and bubble back up in my life. They read me 3 books that I recall fondly. That one, Goodnight Moon, and Guess Who's Coming, Jessie Bear. Like, I remember my parents reading to me. And y'all know which parent I prefer reading to me most? My daddy. Like, it's funny. My mom was like, y'all did like your daddy reading to you more. I did. I loved when my mama read Goodnight Moon. Hers was more like soothing and like, just more comforting and like, okay, I'm going to bed. But when my daddy read, it was like really entertaining and like exciting when he read. And sometimes they'd be in there together, but sometimes it'd be one or the other one. So that's foundational. And if you struggle with that, like if you 31 and you just not loving yourself, that means you'll be a little bit more intentional with making sure your baby understands that and is able to fight through that, right? And it may require some hard conversations. It may require some of your behavior actually makes me feel like this. It had me struggling with this. You get what I'm saying? But God is good, and I've seen what he can do. Okay, so I'm gonna have to end this at this. I didn't know this was gonna take this route. So we did royalty. Well, we're royal. Chosen people are royal. God's chosen people. I've been listening to Mali music a lot. Usually when I'm having a hard time with just like, I might need to take a little break for a second, y'all. But usually when I'm having a hard time with certain things, I listen to that. But God has called you out of darkness and into light. Do you know who you are? Royalty. Once we weren't the people, now we are the people. That's because of Jesus. Do you know who you are? Royalty. And once you can really sit there, and I mean sit there and not be moved by what's going on underneath you, because that's a distraction, you leveling up. You entering queen status, king status. Your past hurts, traumas, and stuff, that should be beneath you, because that was the devil moving through whatever he can move through. But God is bigger than that. Once you can really live your life and they intended that for my harm, even if they actively intended something for your harm, and you can sit there and you can believe that God is going to somehow use it for your good, you at a different level. When you really know you can sit at his right hand and he'll make your enemies your footstool, your enemies your footstool, that's a different type of living. Okay, so you really are royalty. Really came from kings and queens. They didn't want you to know that. Just like the video I made, it's like they didn't want you to remember. We can understand that on an individual level, but we don't think that's happening on a systematic level. They didn't want you to know you were kings and queens. I remember when I first learned about it was black people, kings and queens in other places. All I knew was we were slaves. That's all they teach us. Like, that's all I knew. We was kings and queens in other places. Who's gonna tell me that? Why you ain't teach me that for Black History Month? Right? Had to learn that stuff on YouTube. By that point, it was carrying me off to I'm finna switch religions. Like, right, exactly. So thank God he kept me through that. That was my last year at Auburn. That was nuts. I had other minorities treating me like, what? Baby, you're not the favorite minority. That's not how the kingdom works. It's not how the kingdom works. So I feel like that. Like, I'm at a point where I feel like my reaction is like, ooh, you can't get that out of me. You can't get no reaction out of me. I tell y'all, like, Beyonce, they trying to party with the queen. They're going to have to sign a non-disclosure that you even want to see me party. You got to, like, you cannot afford to get a reaction out of me. And you sit down here and you live down there. You worship homie down there. You ain't getting no reaction out of me. You moved and influenced by him. I can't get you no reaction out of me. That don't even feel right no more. Literally, the last few times I've gotten triggered because I don't want y'all to think it's not so happening. It's actively happening still with family, right? The last few times, I don't say nothing. I just be like this. And people start to feel like real seen and exposed when you don't even, I'm not giving you nothing. You gonna sit there and look at all the filth that just came out of your mouth that you try to put over here. And like me not even saying, I ain't gotta say like, no, take that back. I don't gotta do that. I ain't gotta throw it back, nothing. I've literally just been like, guard, remove them out of my presence. Like it's the Holy Spirit that's moving them. Like I ain't even gotta say nothing. I ain't gotta do nothing. Like that's how life has been lately. I'm like, it could have been like this. This is crazy. When was y'all gonna tell? When was y'all gonna tell me that life could have been like this before now? You know what I'm saying? So royalty. If you are a child of God, you are royalty. You have no business letting somebody treat you like you less than, no matter what the circumstances are. This is not just for Black people. I'm just telling y'all another angle of it and what we go through. A plight that I'm familiar with, being that I'm a woman of color, right? Everybody can have these feelings and go through situations, and it's the same strategic demonic setup, okay? And interestingly enough, I was about to say dynamic setup, which means it's moving. That's why we need to be in step with the Lord. The way the enemy is attacking you is dynamic. He's attacking you in a dynamic manner. It's moving elements. That's how 2024 felt to me. It felt like a very much so a dynamic attack, because what the heck is going on? That's how it felt. But God was using it. So royalty, freedom. Black people are free. Okay. If you're not living free, you're not tapped into these heavenly resources, which we're about to talk about and end it. You're free. You are free, my friend, if you're catching this live, Black or not. You are free. You've been going through this process, going through this phase, this healing phase. You entering this new era. You was like, how am I getting over here, God? And all I knew was he was carrying me. Yeah, it was like he was carrying me while they was triggering me. And then he just popped me down like, look, boom, there we are. Like, okay, this is nice. You're free. They had to keep telling Bucky that. You're free. Like, that stuff not triggering you. You not hurt. Like, do you know how weird it is to have a dream? And it's like, I ain't got a wound on my body. Why do I even have this band-aid on? Like, you low-key being dramatic too, right? I was talking about Sunday school. But you free. You not wounded. You not ignorant. You done gone through enough. You've gone through enough and a lot. You've been through enough. Why would you keep going through stuff? You ain't been through enough? That's how I be feeling. Like, no, I didn't been through enough. Like, I don't want to go through nothing else for real. That don't mean other stuff's not going to happen. You're different. You're free. You can live a different life when you're free. Now, I didn't plan on doing all this, but this might be an interesting segue too. Y'all know I love Glorilla. I listen to Glorilla. Immediately, all that stuff with her sister, I was like, I mean, I'm automatically just gonna side with Glow because I just know how my family treat me. You reminded me of my cousins on both sides, sister girl, right? When you get free, crabs in a barrel, crabs in a bucket. Black people struggle with this greatly. This was a systematic, dynamic attack that started with slavery, okay? Very, very bad. Like, they knew what they was doing. Well, demonically, they knew what they was doing. Seeing other people free and you don't know how to get free, that's what I'm saying. Like, I was like, no, God, like, it's got to be another way to live. Got to be. Like, how do I get over here? Right? And with me being who I am, the problem solver that engineering has made me, but I was like that before engineering. No, it got to be a way to get over here. I need an equation. I need a route. I need something, God. It got to be something to get over here. That's some math you're not going to understand in your human mind. That's a level of freedom you only going to get with God. So with me, I just got to figure out how to be free. Not, I want to bring hurt and pain to everybody that I see is free. I want to bring chaos and stress to everybody that I see is free. I want to pull back, pull down everybody that think they finna get free. And when I did my prison break session, I didn't realize God was showing me that that's what was going on in my family. I wasn't even free yet. I'm free now. I wasn't free then. I was trying to get free. Free from what, Megan? The generational curses, the hurt and pain, the trauma, the lack, certain mindsets. You get what I'm saying? I wasn't free yet, but they knew that was my desire. How you gonna kill me and God put me over here to show you how to get free? But you trying to kill me? I told y'all, my daddy in 12th grade, debutante, he spoke on me. I remember all the times my daddy has ever in my life spoke on me. I remember everything that he says. He compared me to Harriet Tubman and Moses. That was new to me. He never told me that. I didn't know he felt like that until he did the debutante speech. I was like, what? I didn't think too much of that until I started getting older. Oh man, my daddy did compare me to Harriet Tubman and Moses. Interesting. How you gonna lead other people to freedom if you don't get free? But ain't nobody talking about how they try to kill you when you get free, or how they feel entitled to what you have now that you're free, and they want everything you have. And if you don't give it to them, if you don't give them everything you got from you being obedient, that's where that real and stuff came from, right? Now we're gonna destroy you. Oh, you think you better than us because you're not crying over a man no more? Oh, you think you better than us because you didn't have these kids by these men that don't love me, or I don't love them? Oh, you think you better than us because you got a stable job? Oh, you think you better than us because you can do what you want when you want? Oh, you think you better than us because you actually healed and trauma don't rule you and you're not an addict? Oh, you think you better than us because you chasing your dreams? Oh, you think you better than us because you on the internet? Like, that's how my whole family act. Both sides. Oh, you think you better than us because you value your health? I told Morgan, I said, somebody's praying I got big. And she was like, shut up. I'm like, I'm serious. I ain't never gained weight like that. I was stressed out. But you know what I'm saying? Oh, you think you better than us? You think you think we gonna let you see that? That's literally what it was like. But when I was writing Prison Break, I didn't, like, I knew what he was saying. I just didn't realize that's what was happening in their hearts. I didn't realize how close I was to freedom. Now, I think I wrote Prison Break prior to 2024, but 2024 was the most triggering and traumatizing, I feel like. And I'm so stuck on, wait, my family don't want to see me free, and I want to see my whole family free? I want to see all y'all free, and you don't want to see me free? And I gotta get free so we can get free? What? Insane. Hurtful? Yes. You trying to stab me in the back to pull me down? Did you just stab me? Like, that's really what that was like. Like, did you just stab me? And now you even more mad because you stabbed me and I kept climbing because God still wanted me to be free, regardless of what you wanted? Oh, you think you better than us if you finna live the life of your dreams? Or because you can see them? Like, Joseph's brothers definitely did him like that. Look at the dreamer, everybody. That's what me and my mom was talking about yesterday. They did him like that. You think you special because you got dreams? They literally act just like this. My mom was like, how do you be know? I said, I don't know. I just be knowing. It's like God is showing me. Like, even yesterday, somebody is losing their stuff right now because what they thought was going to hold me down didn't. I'm not happy about it, but I'm picking up on it. They're not okay. I pray for them. Some folks changing. That's what Sunday school was about. Gotta have you warn somebody. Now, if we like Jonah, we get mad, right? But I was gonna tell y'all that anyways. I see a lot of videos and it's like, this is what's happening to your enemies. This is what's happening to you. I don't care what's happening to them. God, what we finna do? That's literally how I think. I don't want nothing bad to happen to nobody, even if they done me wrong. Now, do I think you gonna get some of that back? Absolutely. Like, you can't. You're not escaping that. You're not. And my family thinks I just been sitting around like, I don't know what they think. I need to, my dad said he don't like when I say that, but I'm like, I get what you're saying, but it's like how y'all talk to me. It's like, that's what you think that I'm thinking, and that's not what I'm thinking. But some people are changing. It was worth setting those boundaries, huh? Some people not changing. But that's what happened in Sunday school. It's some people who want the people who doing wrong, their enemies, to be destroyed and God just wipe them off the face of the planet, right? I really only feel like that about the pedophiles. Yeah, you can get rid of them entirely. Actually, burn them up now, please. Actually, racist people, I think God knows what He's doing. I couldn't have been born in them other generations. Couldn't have been. don't care what's happening with my enemies. That's between them and God. Me and God turning up. That's you. We turning up though. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not over here wishing bad on you. I hope you heal. I really do. And I hope you get free. Even though you didn't want to see me get free. You know what I'm saying? Like, my heart different. I'm really not built like that. That's how I be trying to explain to my parents. Like, I'm not like that. Y'all think I just be mad at people sitting around the house wishing bad on them? No. That's not how I get down. At all. But yeah, when you get free in any regard, very exposing. People around you, they hearts. You think you cute? You think you special? You think you better than me? I don't think that, but the fact that you are so pressed, I think you think I'm cute. I think you think I'm special. And I think you think I'm better than you. And that's between you and God too. Because I don't like, I do think people is cute and I love them. I think they special. I don't think nobody better than me. I don't think nobody can be me better than me. Like, you cannot be me better than me. Baby, I can barely keep up with God. You think you finna keep up with God and trying to be a fraud and be me? Good luck. Can't nobody do that. I can barely keep up when it comes to being me. You know what I'm saying? So that freedom, you're free. But I think sometimes we think like, oh, free, life's great. Nah. They will try to take you out of here when you close to being free. Just like prisoners. You got your release date. It's folks that's never getting out. They ain't got nothing to lose. They gonna try to take you out just so you can't experience it because they can't. People really think like that. That's what happened to me in my life. I wasn't free yet, but they knew I was on my way. Ask me if they stopped it. I'm still here, right? Stronger, better, wiser. Oh, okay. All yesterday. I wonder if they think it's funny now. Kept saying that. Who am I talking to? I be in the house minding my business. Oh, okay. I wonder if they think it's funny now. I was like, oh. That's why I put on Facebook and I think I put on YouTube. God always get the last laugh. It was funny when you was trying to hurt her, wasn't it? It's funny when y'all was on the phone talking about her, wasn't it? It was funny when y'all was enjoying her misfortunes, wasn't it? It was funny when you stabbed her in the back, wasn't it? You think it's funny now? Is it funny now? Is it funny now? And was it worth it? No. Now for me, did it hurt? Yeah. But I'm glad I went through all that. Every time I get to it, I'm glad for all that stuff. You know you going somewhere different. What you mean you glad? Because they intended it for my harm, but God intended it for my good. I'm straight. I'm better than straight. I'm good. I know what he can do. I know what he can heal. And now look at me still being an example to you. And now they hate you even more. That's why some people changing and some people not. Okay. We got a Super Bowl or whatever today. Heavenly resources. Yeah, I got so many notes. It's not even funny. I haven't been neglecting y'all, I promise. If I was neglecting y'all, I wouldn't be writing nothing down to come back and share. So, again, think Wakanda. They had the technology that's like nowhere else until you watch Wakanda Forever. But it stems from a natural element, right? So the words he gave me was original, raw, creative. Now, when I wrote that down, I was thinking one way. But when I just said it, I was thinking about authenticity. And somebody had commented that I want to say like last week, just keep being myself. Original. I'm the Megan Michelle. You can never be that. Raw. This the real me. Like, this is real. This is me. I was thinking that the other day. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be now. Gonna let the light shine on me. Now I found who I am. There's no way to hold it in. No more hiding who I wanna be. This is me. Exactly. I need a guitar in my life. But no, for real. The authentic version. The real deal. One of my favorite Black people. is Elijah McCoy. And y'all know that. He was an engineer who worked on trains. But that's an eternal power. So if you're building Wakanda, this is an example. This is not real. It's TV, but it's symbolism. And I realize that's why I like entertainment so much, because of the symbology. But if you're building on that, a natural, powerful, occurring element, what you think you're building? What type of power you think that place gonna have? Whether you talking about your life, the foundation of your life, your endeavors. What they said? She loved the Lord with all her heart. Oh, okay. And it cast an amazing light on everything she did. Shining, 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 yeah. Oh, it's when I've been losing my mind. Amos 9:13 through 15 message version. But also I had posted Shining Bright Like a Diamond this past week. What you think it's gonna be like? Glorious, marvelous. Those are words we used to describe God, no? So what you think is gonna look like in your life if you building on that? That's an eternal power. What type of technology you think you're gonna have? Now we see technology like this, modern day technology, phones, computers. But when you think about Wakanda, what stuck out to me was the weapons. I always pray for better weapons in the spirit, right? What do you think you're fighting with? I said, God, I don't know what the equivalent to this spear is that the Dora, Malaje, whoever they are. I might be getting the last word wrong. Whatever that spear is, I need that in the spirit. Whatever that is, give me about 5 of those, right? You fight different. This stuff that you have, like what it's generated from, what it's powered from, is different than what everybody else got. You have heavenly resources. It's folks out here that can only fight with lies, bitterness, yelling. You don't fight like that. You can fight quietly. You can fight from peace. You can fight being still because it's God swinging, right? You don't got to fight like that. You got different types of weapons. I was like, yeah, I like this. This is a good one. The medical healing that they could do in Wakanda. Anytime somebody get hurt, they didn't just heal Bucky in his mind. That CIA agent got shot in his spine, healed miraculously. And on the way to Wakanda was stable because they put that little bead made out of vibranium in his spine. What? Where did they do that? Remember I told y'all when Lady Jeremiah first said that stuck with me? Where they do that at? The Kingdom? Right. That's how Black Panther movies feel. Where did they do that at? Wakanda. Something else I liked? You wouldn't know Wakanda was Wakanda unless you knew about Wakanda. They thought these people was broke. Yeah. You think Black people good for nothing. You think Black people ignorant. You don't even know what we sitting on. You don't even know what it's really like over here. You don't even really know what we have access to. We let you think we broke and stupid. That's a tactic for preservation, right? Which eventually they learn they have to stop doing that, which I hope my kids, by the time we get there, it's even more like, oh no, we really lit. Like, see, y'all didn't know we was lit. We knew we was lit this whole time. Well, all of it. I hope by the time my kids are living in this world, we see even more than that. They let them think they was broke. What that sound like? Jesus, lowly. You ain't know how it was really coming up. Oh, you thought you was gonna bully up on us. Even in the second movie, you thought because the king died, that was your chance to take us for our resources. Why you think they don't want a Black man and his family so bad? That leave you exposed. I can take the talent, the strength of your whole family with you out of the way. So they thought. Let Jesus fill in the gaps. So if you are a single mom, if you are in a broken family, broken home, ain't nobody running up stealing nothing from you if he's in the home. You get what I'm saying? Heavenly resources. Part of that resource is protection. The border tribe, boundaries. Boundaries will change your life. I hate it took me this long to figure that out. Boundaries will change your life. What are some of the other resources? Talent, skill, knowledge, wisdom. That's what's getting me at church today. Like, it's the same God who carried them through slavery, the same God who carried them through the civil rights movement, segregation, the same God that's carrying us through the killings, all that. Same God. It's the same God. How Elijah McCoy was the real Elijah McCoy back then. Because it don't matter if it's the 1800s or the 2000s, everybody had access to the heavenly resources as long as you believed in Jesus and you was locked in with the Spirit. Everybody had access to that. It don't matter how people treating you. Black people was lit back then. I was lit when I was 12. I was lit when I was 14. I was lit when I was 20. Was it overshadowed by how I was treated? Maybe. I was still lit though. I still had access to heavenly resources. I ain't even talked about wealth and how he owned everything. That whole situation with Glorilla and her sister, I was like, that's really crazy because really everybody in the world could be rich. Like, everybody could be rich. The problem is everybody don't do what they need to do to get to where they need to be. I don't think it's God's will for anybody to not live in overflow. But the fact of the matter is the poor will always be among us. That's something my daddy always tells me. And the conversation we had last night, because I was asking him about the Glorilla situation, but we were trying to fill him in so he could really give like insight to what he thought it was. I'd rather be the lender than the borrower. And that's somewhere in these notes too. When I tell y'all, it's in one of these pages. Y'all see this? Do y'all see this? Do y'all see this? Songs, everything. That's like 6 pages. And this just in a couple of days. I'm trying to find the one about the lender and the borrower. I didn't wrote so much. I know it's in here though. The poor is gonna always be among us though, y'all. But part of the resources is the wealth. And wealth isn't just money, right? Like, it's an overflow. They had to make sure they weren't just using it up without purpose and just because then they would run out, right? Which I don't think. Whenever you're talking about heaven and we're talking about an eternal power, you're not going to just run out. His kingdom knows no end, right? But we have access to all of these things. Knowledge that no man can fathom is what I was picking up on. And also, even getting caught up in like man affected the Bible, changed the Bible, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying that it ain't true. I'm not. I had a conversation with my family members and they was like, so how do you know these things and yet you still move like this? I was like, because God will humble you and God will show you who he is and everything. It don't matter what they tried to take out of the Bible. It don't matter what they tried to erase. It don't matter what they didn't want you to know or remember. Just like with my family, it didn't matter that they didn't want me to remember, right? Or to know. That don't matter. God wanted me to remember. And his Holy Spirit is a teacher of all things. His Holy Spirit reveals all things, even stuff people try to erase, even stuff people don't want you to see. That's why I know God is real. I know his Holy Spirit wrote the Bible through men. And even if they did leave something out, God, it's stuff that I know. It's stuff that I say. I ain't never read the scripture a day in my life. Didn't even know it was in there. But it was still Holy Spirit. Today, I was listening to this video and this lady was breaking down all the scriptures. And I was like, this is everything I was saying last year. But because I didn't have the scriptures and I don't try to throw scripture at people, they think I'm just talking outside of my neck. Whole time, it's in the Bible. Holy Spirit be telling people that. So there are things that we do know that I will argue it might not be in there. They might have tried to hide that. That don't mean God ain't told nobody that because the conversations me and him be having about aliens, I'm like, why don't I read that in the Bible? That's maybe funny. But knowledge, wisdom, insight, strength, resilience. even the warriors. That kicked my charger. Even the warriors that came from Wakanda, baby, you a different type of fighter. You a different type of strong. You get what I'm saying? You have access to heavenly resources, a whole new level of healing. They can't heal you like that with Western medicine, boo. But in Wakanda, and what does Wakanda represent? Heaven. Western medicine can't heal you like that. Heaven can heal you differently. The Lord, His Spirit, the Holy Ghost fire can heal you differently. You have access to so many different things. So you live differently. I wrote that down too for that day. You live a different life. I had been saying that and I didn't understand what God was saying. It was like I was so happy and excited and I knew I was on my way, but then it was like, what? Hopefully that was the last test. But that test lasted a long time. And it lasted a long time because I could not, get over all those things. I wrote down, you're out of this world, which he had gave me at the beginning of January. So some of us, we don't even realize that. Like, you are genuinely out of this world. And I thank God because I'm in it, but I'm not of it. And that's what I think a lot of people fail to understand. A lot of stuff is not like God. Like, right? Like, he gave the devil dominion over this earth. He's the prince of the air, right? And so unless you're going to boycott the earth, you kind of stuck here. So I'm still going to Starbucks. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not. Are you leaving America? Because the people in charge say it's one nation under God, but they're lying. You don't do that type of stuff when you under God. So are you leaving America too? I'm just trying to figure out because we like to pick and choose. That's what he's been telling me. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So I'm in this world. I'm not of it. The world don't tell me what to do. The world don't boss me around. I live here, but I'm submitted to God. I have access to a whole nother place. It's heaven. Okay. I'm in America. That don't mean I think like America because I don't know what they got going on. I don't know. I have a job for 6 weeks in 2025. I don't know what's going on. But you're not like this world. You out of this world. So people meet you and they know, like, I've told y'all that. Where you meet her from? And my joke was always heaven. I was on to something. I'm out of this world. I ain't like them. I ain't like y'all. They not like us. I'm not like you. I'm out of this world. And because of that, you're also light years ahead. Because God is Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, how you move. So and that's crazy because when we be pursuing different things and we feel like it's not catching on, by the time people catch on to what you was doing, it'll be 5 years later. I was doing a lot of this stuff before it was cool, before it was a trend in college. And then it became a thing, but I stopped doing it. That's my problem. That's my fault. Because I should have kept showing up authentically and raw. But I stopped because I didn't think it was getting no traction. I didn't think people liked it. I didn't think people understood the whole time you was ahead of the game. You're light years ahead. What does that mean? Someone or something is significantly more advanced, developed, or superior compared to others. This is not to say you better than nobody, but when you walk with God, you live a different life. Okay? Usually in technology, Wakanda, innovation, what are you coming up with? What are you creating? Or capability. That's why you're so resilient. You capable. Implies a massive, almost insurmountable, that's a big word, gap in progress or quality. So the whole time they thinking, look at these losers farming. What kind of resources does Wakanda have to offer us? I'm pretty sure somebody says that. Baby, you don't even know. Why are you trying to be funny? Got a lot I can offer you. Because I'm out of this world. So it's an eternal power, original, raw, creative. And last but not least, the best resource he could have gave us, which I also said in the prayer, because we were trying to figure out how to tie in Black History Month and Valentine's Day. The best resource that you have access to from heaven is love. That's the best resource. People can treat you like crap and wonder why you still smiling. I'm sorry. I got a daddy in heaven who loves me, a father in heaven who loves me. I got a husband in heaven who loves me, and a Holy Spirit that filled this whole wide world and come and hug me whenever I need it. That's why I'm so happy, even though you're treating me like trash. Black people are resilient. God's children are resilient. All this stuff you've been through, yeah. Yeah, that's how I feel. Like, resilient. And one of the words he gave me is how we can't fight hate with hate. We have to fight it with love. You fight different. You got access to a whole nother level of stuff. You got access to love people we as people cannot even understand. Me and the kids was talking about love today and how love treats you. And my boys was like, love is this, love is this. I said, y'all talking about how them little girls treat you. That's not love. Jesus is love. Let's start over. What is love? They kept trying to give me characteristics. And love is this, and love burns, and love ain't you're not talking about my Lord and Savior, because when I say love, that's what I'm talking about. Y'all talking about something totally different. Love ain't even 100% how your parents treat you, because they're a human. Going back to the beginning, humans suck. But you got access to so much stuff. So that same God in slavery, that same God that built Harriet Tubman up to free her people, same God that gave Elijah McCoy the knowledge, the wisdom to invent all that cool stuff for them for the automatic drip, which is a whole nother word, for the locomotives to oil them. Same God. Same God who led even them rebellions, who told one of the slaves, I did not put y'all down here to get treated like this. And he stood up. Right. Same God who taught me how to set boundaries and showed me my worth. Same God. Same God who showed my parents how to break generational curses so that we will live a different life. Same God that's showing me how to break them so my kids live a different life. Same God. Same resources if you choose to have access to them. And I tell you one thing, all that hate in your heart will block you from having access to those resources, okay? Don't I feel like Captain America? Y'all can call me, I don't want to do Miss America. Somebody, first lady at church today, she was like, I see you got on your Patriots gear. No. I just smiled. This is actually my Dallas Cowboys shirt. I have matching pants to this, but I couldn't wear those pants to church. These are my red sweatpants bottoms. And now I understand why she said Patriots. But I do got a homie playing for the Patriots. And I guess that's who I'm cheering for. I need to go talk to my parents. But I wouldn't say Captain America. I don't feel like Miss America. I watched Captain Marvel and I love that this year. But I really like Ironheart because I was like, what's going to happen with Tony Stark? Is they going to have a black person come in for that too? Like, what's happening? And it was a young black woman from Chicago who went to MIT and was following behind Tony. So I don't know. I need to come up with my Marvel Avenger name. Something will come to me. But I love y'all. I'm glad we got to catch up. Whenever you watch this, leave me some hearts or something. I'm going to take a nap. But I really do love y'all. I pray you feel like you've been healing. I pray you feel like you've been changing, you've been growing. And I don't know. I just hope you have a really good year and rest of your life. Like, not just a really good 2026, but a really good 2026 and beyond. You ain't go through all that hell just to go through it. Like, take the lessons from everything that you went through. Okay. I'll see y'all in my next few videos, whatever those are. Bye.